Hey everybody, it's Joe Werner, the District Math Content Specialist, and I just wanted to give you a quick run through in how to use School City to access your AzMerit or AIMS data. So for those who don't know, School City is our new assessment platform. It will be replacing Galileo for the upcoming school year. It's a really cool program and has a lot of amazing potential in regards to assessment in the classroom. But today we're going to look specifically at the data reports it can offer. Now there will be training for all teachers before the start of next school year, but I figured I'd just give you a quick crash course in this specific area so you can start digging into your scores. I just want to give a special shout out to our assessment director, Sean Smith, and our assessment coordinator, Carissa Welta. They have been integral in choosing this new platform and just helping our team understand and use School City to access and analyze this data. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is log in. So I'm just going to go to a different browser real quick. The URL is fairly simple. It's aguafria.schoolcity.com. All right, from there, you'll be directed to the login page. You do not have a unique School City ID and password to memorize. You can just log in with your Gmail account, which is really nice. So click sign in with Google. And then from here, I'm going to put in my aguafria.org email address. Now, I'm already signed in on Google Chrome, so I'm going to go back to there, but I just wanted to kind of show you how to get into the platform. So once you are logged in, you'll be directed to the Launchpad. From here, you can create assessments, look at score reports. Again, you're going to look at all of this during your training before the start of next school year. Today, we're just going to specifically look at these data reports. So I'm going to go down here and click Reports. I'm going to click Predefined Reports and then Test Results. All right, while this loads, I just want to let you know that I am using a specific teacher's account who gave me permission to kind of look at their Algebra 1 and Geometry results for the AzMerit. But this applies to the ELA AzMerit and also to AIM Science. Everything we're doing, you can do regardless of what course or what test you're looking into. So to look at the data, we have to choose two things. We have to first choose the assessment we want to look at, and then we have to choose the specific students and courses we want to look at. So I am currently in the 18-19 school year roster, which is good. And then here is where I'm going to be able to select my assessment. So it's going to have a default assessment here, but to change that, I'm going to hit this drop-down menu. So let's start all the way to the left. I want to look at 2018-19 test results. But what's cool about this is I can also look at 17-18 results and 16-17 results. We have all of that AzMerit data for the past couple of years in the system already. Let's say you're teaching Algebra 2 next year and you want to see what your specific students in your class now got on the Algebra 1 or Geometry exam. You can look at that data. It's all at your fingertips. Really, really cool. But for this example, let's just look at this school year. I'm going to skip over collection. I'm going to subject. Again, you can look at your ELA results, your math results, or your science AIMS results. Again, for this example, I'm going to look at math. I'm going to skip over tags. For assessment, I want the AzMerit 2019 spring assessment. And for the subtest, again, this specific teacher was an Algebra 1 and Geometry teacher. So those are the only two classes that are going to pop up. But let's say I was an ELA 9 teacher, that will pop up. If I was a biology teacher, that section will pop up as well. Okay, let's apply. So while that's loading, the second thing we want to do is look at our specific courses, right? So let's start over here, grade level tested. So there might be a case where you're teaching Algebra 2 and you have, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders in there. You can look at all of them at once, so you can maybe look at one grade at a time. For this example, I'm just going to look at 9th graders. Subscore, so by selecting math, I'm going to be able to look at the proficiency rates, right, for every single student in the courses I choose. I'll come back to these other subcategories in a second, but for right now, let's just select math. I'm going to skip over course group. So for course, let's say I want to look at my Algebra 1 results. So I only want to select my Algebra 1 courses, right? I don't want to select my advisory courses. I don't want those kids in my data. I don't want to select my geometry course. I just want to select my algebra courses. For now, I'll do both Algebra 1 and Honors Algebra 1. All of my students who took the Algebra 1 AzMerit, how did they do? And from there, I want to select the period. Now, only the Algebra 1 courses pop up, which is nice. However, both first semester and second semester pop up. I think it's probably a good idea to deselect first semester. There are kids who are in your first semester who transfer out and aren't in second semester and aren't enrolled in your course when they take the AzMerit. So it's probably a good idea to just factor them out of the results. So I'm just going to deselect all of the first semester courses. All right, so now I'm looking at 3 regular algebra courses and 1 honors algebra course. And I can change that, and I'll kind of show you how to do that in a little bit. And let's refresh this. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is this first tab, the test results. So out of those 4 courses, I had 109 students test, right? And this is the breakdown of their proficiency levels, right? I can look at it in this chart. I can also look at it in this little pie chart over here, where about 26% of my students scored minimally proficient, 23% scored partially proficient, 34% scored proficient, and about 17% scored highly proficient. I can play around with these little buttons here. I can look at a fancy 3D pie chart. I can look at a bar graph. So there's a bunch of different ways you can kind of look at this data. You can also download this data over here as a PDF file, which is nice. I'm not going to scroll down much more because I don't want to give away specific student information. Notice here is where I'm going to have all the student names and specifically what they got on the AzMerit, their performance levels and their scale scores. Again, you can kind of play around with that and look at your specific student results. So that is the test results. Now, before we go to these other tabs, I again want to go back to this sub-score. So again, by selecting math, I'm figuring out exactly what the proficiency levels of my students are overall when they took the Algebra 1 AzMerit. However, we know specifically, at least for our math tests, and this is probably similar for the ELA tests and the AIMS test, that's broken down into different domains. So the Algebra 1 AzMerit is broken down into algebra standards, function standards, and statistics standards. Right, so let's say I want to see specifically how my students did on the function standards. Well, I can select that and refresh. And now I don't have the proficiency levels anymore overall of those students, but I have where they fall in terms of mastery on the function standards. So looking at these 4 classes, about 37% scored below mastery on the function standards, about 29% scored at or near mastery, and about 34% scored above mastery on those specific function standards. And again, I can also look at statistics standards and the algebra standards. I think it's a pretty cool tool to really narrow down and see, where students are struggling and where they're excelling. Let's go back to the overall proficiency rates, and let's say I don't want to look at all of my Algebra 1 results at once. Let's say I just want to look at my honors Algebra 1 kids. Well, I can deselect the Algebra 1 scores and look at the second semester of my honors Algebra 1 course. Let's do refresh. And from there, I have the proficiency levels. And in this specific class, that's pretty awesome. All students passed. They either got proficient or highly proficient on the Algebra 1 AzMerit. From there, you can go to the objective analysis. So like before, remember the test is broken down into these 3 domains. You can figure out specifically where your students are in terms of mastery levels on those domains. I'm not going to scroll down again. I don't want to look at specific student information, but you can kind of see here what information you're going to get from this page. Kind of same with summary. I'm not going to go too deep into it because we don't want to look at specific student or teacher information. But from here, there are going to be some bar graphs where you can compare where your results were compared to your sites, compared to the overall district. So again, a lot of ways to kind of look at this data and make assumptions based on the data. So that's pretty much it. There is a lot more to this platform and to this specific application in School City. So feel free to explore. You can look at demographic profiles. You can filter out specific students. You can look at exactly which of your students scored proficient or highly proficient and so forth and so on. So play around with it. Hopefully when you get back to school at the end of July or early August, that you're sitting down with your PLC teams and you're looking at this data and you're making comparisons. And we'll be able to do this throughout the year. Not only for our state assessments, but for our CAs and our MTEs and things like that. So it's a lot of really cool, exciting things coming up in terms of, looking at the data and making data-driven decisions in our classroom. As always, if you have any questions, you can contact me or your content specialist. You can also reach out to Sean Smith and Carissa Weltha, who are our assessment gurus and experts in School City. So thank you so much. And again, if you have any questions, let us know. All right, bye.